Hello, I'm Kathy Ramsperger, author of the award-winning The Shores of Our Souls. You can call me Kathy. Welcome to my story hour. I created Story Hour to connect avid readers with brilliant writers. If you're one or both, you've come to exactly the right place. Today we're doing something really special and a little different, and it's a bit more informal. My novel, Shores of Our Souls, has been featured in the wonderful award-winning author Terry Case's compilation of first chapters, many of which I've read, not just the chapters, but the books. It's called Great Beginnings, and you can obtain it for free and read by clicking the link which will be provided in the comments section. Terry, if you're here, I'd love for you to put the link out, and if not the link, then your website, both and or. Uh, Terry is here, but not going to be interviewed, so I can have the time to read the book descriptions to you because there are a lot of them. I'm going to be reading them for all the featured books I can get to, and every author represented will be read. One of their books at least will be read, and if I have time, I'll come back to the second or third. Keep notes if you'd like, because you might see a book you'd like to read or a book you'd like to gift and realize the video will be here for much time after if you need it. And please, please, please interact, ask questions, comment along the way. Kaylee and I will be pausing 3 or even 4 times for your interaction, so it's not just me reading. Several of the authors and Terry herself are here to answer your questions now, so ask away or comment away. And authors who are here, thank you so much. Thank you for your books. Thank you for attending. And please feel free to share a link to the best place readers can see more about your book or books and order them below in the comments section. I'll do my best to have the other links for authors not here today live by Saturday. So all you need to do is come to my page and click on a preferred book. However, caveat here, I don't know how many links Facebook will allow in underneath a video, in which case all book details can be found by ordering the anthology or visiting Terry Case's website, I believe. And Terry can correct me if I'm wrong about the website part, but I know everything is in the book. So let's get started. I am going to read first from the introduction to the anthology. Terry says, welcome to Great Beginnings, an anthology where dozens of authors have included the first chapters of their books for free, especially for you. I hope you'll discover a new author to follow and books to add to your must-read pile. I certainly have. Perhaps you'll even find gifts for your family and friends. Speaking of family and friends, please note some of the chapters contain swear words. I won't be including them in today's live. Here's how it works, the anthology. After each chapter, you will learn more about the author and how to keep reading their book. Since this is an ebook, the links provided point towards ebooks. But if you follow the links, you'll see that most authors have other formats available, including hardcover, paperback, and audio. In most cases, if you're reading from a Kindle, the order link will take you to Amazon. If you are on an iPad reading from the Kindle app, the link will take you to Amazon. If you're on an iPad reading from the Books app, you'll be directed to Apple, and so on. You guys have done this before. In some cases, the author's website is provided where you can order directly from them. In addition to the order links provided with each chapter, there is a curated list on my website, and there's a link in the intro that you can click to get there, including every book and every author. Many are trying to support bookstores. If you are a bookshop fan, I am. Here is a partially curated list with bookshop.org in the book. Most of these books can be also found on indiebound.org, another great site. Don't hesitate to contact your local bookstores to order a copy for you. The same goes for your local library. If you like what you're reading, please consider visiting the author's website or social media sites and following the author. If you order a book, consider writing a review. More on that later. Thank you, Terry. All right, here we go. So the first book, and I'm glad of this, is Terry's. It's called In the Doghouse. I've read it and loved it. A couple's break up from their dog's point of view. Skip is a rescue dog who wants to matter. He loves living in a blissful pack with his human couple, John and Lucy, and he is vowed never to lose them. But when John walks out after 7 happy years, Skip and Lucy's world is turned upside down. Skip is determined to guide Lucy through her identity crisis, but he's guarding a secret. He's to blame for the breakup in her broken heart. Now, with the help of a hoarder neighbor, a stray cat, and a boy with autism, Skip must build a new pack for himself and Lucy before she discovers his canine treason and kicks him to the curb. I'm just a Terry Case fan, so I love that book. Number 2, by John L. Lynch, New Persia Before the Storm. On a hostile world in the far future, where civilization hangs by a thread, 2 nations fight for dominance. 4 friends find love and war. Who will survive the coming storm, or will they all fall when the planet itself attacks the human intruders? Very different book. Number 3, Coming Home to Greenlee by Maya Rushing Walker. I've also read her books, and I certainly love this one. Beth Burnham is in trouble. She's broke, underemployed, and her house is falling down around her. She approaches the local law firm, hoping they'll hire her as a part-time attorney. But when she finds the new managing partner is the man jilted 8 years ago, and when she realizes that he still loves her, her world is turned upside down. What's more, a handsome young tattoo artist is in town, ready to sweep her off her feet. What do you do when you've always been such a good girl? A timeless, romantic, second chance at love story set in authentic New England. And here's one I haven't read, but it sounds amazing, by Stephen M. Roth, Death in the Flowery Kingdom, a 1930s Shanghai murder mystery. And it takes place in Shanghai in 1935, so it's historical. The most alluring and most dangerous city in the world. Someone is murdering flower seller girls in Shanghai's Flowery Kingdom, and it is police inspector detective Sun Jin's job, his obsession in fact, to track down the killer, all at great peril to himself and to the people he loves. Sun Jin, as he investigates the murders and deals with his complicated personal life, takes the reader through the contrasting worlds of East and West in Shanghai. And boy, did they exist back then. They still existed when I was there in the 90s. Down the city's dark alleys and streets, through its gritty, crime-infested, triad-colored world, controlled world. Sorry, read it again, Kathy. Crime-infested, triad-controlled underworld, but also into the plush private clubs of its British expatriates, into the world of popular nightclubs, jazz bands, taxi dancers, and gambling dens, where money and greed thrive, human life means little, and cultures and politics often collide. That sounds like a fascinating read. Here's one by an author I know and love, Kim Hamilton, Accidental Lawyer. This was her first in a series, and she's written some novellas about this character as well. Kim has an absolutely amazing sense of humor, and she was a former attorney herself. Once an attorney, always an attorney. She's still an attorney, but she's a great writer. Jessica Snow has a crisp new law degree, a grinding ambition, and a pesky moral compass that is often at odds with her new job as an ambulance chaser. With the help of her bold and brassy sidekick, Carrie, Jess sets out to prove to her boss that she's more than just a pretty face for his advertising campaigns. She finds herself wrangling with a local mob boss, duping a drug dealer, and confronting phony clients. To her surprise, Jess discovers She has a knack for wrapping up difficult cases and finding new business in unexpected places. Like I said, there's wit in this book, and it's also a really great mystery with a little romance in there. Next, A Thousand Roads by John Robin. When Jack, a young orphan, arrives at Fort Lastall, he hopes to find work and a roof over his head. To his great relief, he immediately finds employment as a stable boy in the house of a stern and reclusive man named Barrack. Jack's life would be perfect if only he wasn't haunted by the memory of a burning woman. If only his life with Barrack didn't lead to more secrets, secrets that awaken in Jack a longing for the taste of blood and a distinct awareness that he is being bound to something, becoming slave to a power that stirs under the surface. Ooh, that's intriguing. Okay, number 7, Rainbow, a short story. So this is a short story, everybody, not a novel. It's by, please excuse me if I say your name wrong, Mickey. Mickey Berthelot Morency. I think it's Morency. Joseph knows where to find his lost son, but his fear of rejection paralyzes him. So, alongside his canine companion Rainbow, he waits for strength and a miracle. But when a major earthquake hits Haiti, he must battle his demons and find his son under the rubble. In the process, he finds a second chance and the courage to make a new life for them in Miami. Rainbow is counting on him. And Kathy Zane, number 8, Better Than This. Sometimes the most enviable life is really a private hell. On the surface, Sarah Jenkins appears to have it all, but Sarah is far from happy. She feels empty and on edge, harangued by a critical inner voice, and as the truth about her marriage and details of her past emerge, her perfect life begins to crumble. But just once it seems like all is lost, a long forgotten, unopened letter changes everything. And with the support of friends, Sarah begins to rebuild her life. Can she quiet the critical voice in her head and learn to value herself instead? Sounds like an empowering read. And I also love that we have male authors represented here because I read a lot of women's fiction and I don't get to you can only read so many books. And so I'm so glad that there are male authors here because there's something for everybody. We're even going to get to picture books and YA. So David Michael Newstead wrote Vladmin. A Soviet poster artist struggles with the realities of life behind the Iron Curtain as he attempts to succeed at work and in his marriage. Set in the 1960s, Vladmin explores one man's connection to the propaganda he helps create, as well as the turbulent politics that define life in Soviet Russia. Also includes historical companion pieces on the art of Gustav Klutzis and the infamous Sinyavsky Daniel trial. Book 10. In for a Penny, Seasoned Southern Sleuth Cozy Mystery by Kelsey Browning and Nancy Nagel. So they're a team. When Lillian Summer Fairview's husband up and dies on her, it leaves the last living member of the most prestigious family in the small town of Summer Shoals, Georgia, in a hot money mess. Ooh, I've been there. Desperate to keep up the family name and give the man a decent burial, penniless Lil cooks up a shady deal that lands her smack dab in the slammer. Burdened by her shameful secret and a crumbling family estate, Lil entrusts Summer Haven's care to her best friend Maggie, who recruits two more over 50 ladies to help. But when Maggie discovers that Lil's restitution is 10 times the amount she borrowed from the federal government, that's a surprise, she's convinced Lil has taken the fall for someone else's crime. Will these gals be able to get some vigilante justice for Lil, Or will the swindler get away with hoodwinking a sweet little old lady? Okay, so I think we've got a few comments and questions. I'm going to turn it over to Kaylee for a few minutes so you don't have to listen to me the whole time. Welcome, Kaylee.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Happy November. It is 97 degrees in Phoenix, but that doesn't stop me from drinking from my holiday mug. Yes, my hot coffee. It's great. Anyway, it's great to see so many people interacting in the comments. A lot of the authors that are included in this anthology are including their links. So thank you to everybody that's including the link to their book. And thank you, Terry, for including the link to the anthology, which is free. So that's great. I will probably be checking it out because I want to give some books away for the holidays and also a little reading for myself. So let's see here. We did have a question. I'm scrolling through. Let's see here. So this is a question for one of the authors, Kim. I'm not sure if you're watching, but Tatiana Ramsperger is wondering, which profession do you like better, attorney or writer, or why? So Kim, if you're watching, there's a question for you in the comments. Let's see what else. There's another question from Tatiana to one of the authors. So let's see. For now, everybody's sort of just sharing about their books and saying hello. So that's what's going on right now. It's very active in the comments, which is
That's
great.
so exciting because I wanted this to be a social time and a celebration of all these wonderful, successful books. Let me just say that if Kim isn't here, I'll make sure she comes in and answers it. I know that she loves writing and she loves having readers too. And so I don't think she misses her attorney job, but I'm going to let her answer for herself.
Okay.
So are we done for the moment? And I'll keep going.
Yes. I think that's a good start.
Okay. All right. So number 11 is Close Quarters by Amanda Zeba. Amanda's been on this show, so you may remember this. But for those of you that missed it or may want the description now to remind you, Kelly, Lindsay, Mia, and Harper grew up not only as cousins, but as best friends. Kelly has always been the dreamer, and Lindsay the one with all her ducks in a row. Mia claimed the role of a wild child the day she was born, and Harper will forever be the baby. When their grandmother dies suddenly, they each find themselves unsure of how to move forward without her guiding presence as they attempt to pick up the pieces after the funeral. The cousins come together to open a bookstore in her honor. Unfortunately, their vision of tribute seems to be jeopardized at every turn. I loved that book. Such a great book about female relationships and bookstores and books. Number 12, Love After Life. Richard Sieg, and Richard, please forgive me if it's Zieg, but I think it's Sieg. Can soulmates share a love so deep that it can transcend more than one life? That's the question James is debating with the love of his life, Kathleen, before they die in a car accident. Will they be able to find each other in the next life to rekindle their love? And who will believe them if they do? Okay. Linda Quinn, The Toffee Man and the Kingdom of Ends. The story is set in rural England in the late 1960s as man prepares to go to the moon. Boy, I remember that day. April has spent her formative years in a caravan and has mixed feelings when her family is moved into a council house, leaving the valley meadows and her secret library and stage in the abandoned church. Here she discovers ideas, a map of the moon, and learns it is a guide to a better world. Her mom, Hope, is depressed and drinks, and April's stepfather, Andy, is in prison again. But with the support of the local vicar, the family is welcomed into their new home. April wants to protect her mother and make her proud, but April thrives on the liberty of neglect and sets about exploring this new world, hiding the accounts of her adventures. Against her mother's wishes, April secretly befriends the Toffee Man, an elderly loner who fixes clocks and is struggling to care for his beloved garden. April insists on helping, and their relationship deepens. Meanwhile, when Andy is released from prison, his relationship with April takes a sinister turn when he finds out about the Toffee Man. He forces her to choose between love and truth. Things get out of hand and threaten to overturn the respectability that Hope so badly craves. And April finds she is unable to choose either. She needs Hope to understand before it's too late, before the truth destroys love. Okay, Little Tramp, an adventure story by Toby Little Deer. A little dog finds himself alone in Manhattan after his owner has an accident. He travels to familiar neighborhoods and famous landmarks, but also into danger. A resilient little dog, he perseveres in his hope to get back home. That seems like a nice holiday story. Okay, enough to go around, Tanya Savko. It is 1988, and 79-year-old Anna Sopko is assaulted when her home is broken into. Much to her indignation, her three children think she would be safer in a retirement home. Her older daughter announces that she has advanced stage ovarian cancer, and on her deathbed, knowing that her mother had regrets about the way she left Czechoslovakia, she tells her to go back before it's too late. Meanwhile, Anna's niece, Danica, reveals her illegal status when the toddler she is nanny for is hit by a car. Anna's son, Peter, a lawyer, tries to help Danica while juggling the care of his mother, his own three children, and his wife, Teresa, who has untreated bipolar disorder and is nearing psychosis at his sister's funeral. Grieving, Anna ends up accompanying her deported niece back to the old country, where she's faced with resolving the regrets of her youth, including a jilted lost love and the strange death of her sister over 60 years ago. Wow, a lot in that book. And I love that country. Okay. The reason I'm silent for times is because I'm skipping over second books, but I will come back to them if I can. Us Now and Then, Laurie Smith Schaefer. Globe-trotting Claire has spent her life playing hide and seek from her past. Through decades of work in international relief, she sought to balance her karmic scale. But when her best friend Libby is diagnosed with cancer, Claire flies home to Nevada for the first time in years to discover Libby's life entangled in the very ties Claire has intentionally avoided. When letters arrive revealing deeply held secrets, Claire's notion of identity is shaken. Libby, too, must shake off expectations that have held her back. Is it too late to change the course of their lives? That sounds very poignant. And I'm going to, so I don't think I have read this author yet, so I'm trying to keep it straight. A Sheriff in Nevada, Downfall, J.T. Hume. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office has the same mission as the NYPD and LAPD: protect the public, investigate crimes, and arrest lawbreakers. The difference is Sheriff Maggie Dwone has 6 deputized officers to patrol hundreds of square miles of remote Nevada mountains and deserts. After dodging a close attempt on her own life, finding the bad guy takes all her willpower and attention. Despite the distraction of his sick father and intrusions of old boyfriends, when one of the richest men in the state snaps his fingers, how will she respond? One more. This one sounds funny, but it might not be. The Wedding Crasher, a Sam Tate mystery by Nikki Stern. A dead brunette dressed like a bride shows up in Pickett County, Tennessee, the latest victim of an elusive killer known as the Wedding Crasher. Well, that's not funny. That's scary. Sam Tate is Pickett County's poker playing, yoga loving new sheriff, a woman with a troubled past and an uncertain future. As she tracks the predator, she wonders, who can she trust? Why is she a target? Can she stop more people from dying on her watch? We'll have to read on to see. So let's take a break. Any questions or comments, or is it just sharing links, Kaylee?
Right now, we have one question from Noelle Puglisi, but I'd like to say it's great to see all the authors supporting each other in the comments and commenting on the books that they've read from each other. So it's great to see that. And a lot of commenters saying these books sound great and they're excited to read. But this question from Noelle is actually for you, Kathy. And she asks, do you learn anything about yourself after you write? And do you think every writer learns of themselves as well?
Thank you for that question, Noelle. It's multi-layered, but the simple answer is yes, because I always have a beginning, a middle, and an end in mind. And if I change them, it means I've changed my opinion about the world or myself or what the character was or is. And so it's a very healing process, even to write fiction, because you are changing as you write it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about everybody, but I know a lot of writers who agree with that for different reasons. I think we have different reasons for why we change, but I do think it is very catalyzing and why I love it.
Mm,
So thank you for that.
right. Other than that, the comments just keep rolling, but it's just people talking to each other, which is great.
That's fantastic. Yay. Thank you, everybody. So I'm so glad all the authors are here, or as many as can be. And welcome, welcome, welcome. That's why I'm here, to connect readers and writers and writers and writers. And so we can actually chat with each other. And please feel free to answer Noelle's question yourself. Do you change when you write? I would love to know those answers. And I will continue with descriptions. Julie Meyerson Brown, Long Dance Home. Cece Camden has a plan for work, for love, for life, and she believes she's right on track. But on her 29th birthday, her grand plan begins to unravel, and the disciplined former ballerina's life is turned upside down. Newly unemployed and devastated to learn she and her boyfriend are not on the same page, Cece returns to Clearwater, her hometown in Northern California wine country, hoping to find comfort for her broken heart with her family. Being back in Clearwater only adds to her stress, however, when she reluctantly agrees to help rescue a small town production of the Nutcracker. Having once been the ballerina that would make Clearwater famous, Cece's return attracts attention, inspires gossip, and forces her to examine a decision she made years before at the most vulnerable time of her life. Talk about change. Okay, now we're going to go to middle grade fiction. Deborah Taylor French. The Taylor French is hyphenated for those of you who are Googling. Red Sky at Night, Dog Leader Mysteries. 12-year-old Nevada dreams of rescuing and training dogs. Then one night, Nevada's happy life alters when the sky turns red. Nevada races to save a family, their sheep, and barn cats from a wildfire. Although her father worries over her recklessness, she's hailed as a hero in her small town of Eagle Creek, California. The community is not yet aware that she will soon depend on Nevada, her best friends, and canine pals to stop a serial arsonist and his greedy plans. And Amanda Zeba has also written a YA book, and so I will include that as we go through, just because it's going to make it easier for me to find. It's a very short description. It's called Orphan Train Riders, Joanna's Journey. The only life homeless Joanna has ever known is one of hardship. When she accidentally joins a group of children leaving New York City on an orphan train, her life changes. Although she's not sure if it's for better or for worse, will Joanna ever find a place where she belongs? And Amanda's a teacher, so I bet she writes great YA. And here's some new adult fiction. First In, by Danica Bloom. This is a short and sweet description for a short and sweet young adult, maybe not young adult, new adult, maybe. A happily ever after steamy, enemies to lovers romance about fighters and set in a small town. Sounds like something young people would love. And another one by Danica Bloom, Second Breath, a steamy, opposites attract romance with a happily ever after ending. And some picture books. Kathy Nickel, hi Kathy. Arthur Czar's Amazing Art Car. Meet Arthur Czar. His life is rather plain, and if you get the book, you'll see his car. There's a little drawing. His car is plain too, but not for long. Mr. Czar finds happiness and makes friends by building an amazing art car. This book includes a history of art cars page in the back for readers who are not familiar with this creative form of artistic expression. How fun. In this whimsical story, children learn about recycling, community, friendship building, and the power of imagination. And it's for children ages 4 to 8. Another one that Kathy has written called Yazzie's Amazing Yarn, and that one I have read. Yazzie is a creative girl, always sketching out her next adventure. She loves yarn and she loves to knit. Her neighborhood park is dull and rusty, but Yazzie has a plan. With little help from her friends, Yazzie's knitted wonders transform Penny Park into a fuzzy rainbow of warmth and color. What yarn-tastic idea will Yazzie think of next? The book includes a history of yarn bombing page for readers who are not familiar with this creative and whimsical type of art, ages 4 to 8. And I will keep going with teen and young adult fiction. And then we'll break one last time, maybe last time, maybe next to last. The Dead Travel Fast by Allegra M. Walker. The worlds of fantasy and horror collide in this bone-chilling debut novel, a fast-paced, introspective tale of magical heroes, grinning villains, and grotesque monsters. The Dead Travel Fast is an unforgettable fantasy adventure that will thrill adult and teen readers alike, as well as mature middle grade readers, perfect for fans of Neil Gaiman and Ransom Riggs. A Strange Companion by Lisa Manterfield, whom I also know. Kat Richardson isn't running away from grief. She's just hiding out in a gloomy Welsh university town until she's sure it's gone. Now 1 year, 9 months, and 27 days after the climbing death of her first love, Gabe, she thinks she's ready to venture out into the relationship world again. And Owen, a cake baking, super ball making chemistry student, appears to be a kind, funny, and very attractive option. But the arrival of Kat's newly adopted niece, May, might be Mai, but I think it's May. Please correct anything I'm mispronouncing. Forces her home to northern England, where she runs headfirst into all the memories of Gabe she's tried to leave behind, and discovers that May stirs up an unnerving feeling of deja vu. Before long, Kat's logical scientific beliefs about life after death are in battle with what she feels to be true, that reincarnation is real and Gabe has come back to her through May. The question is now, why? Stillwater by Mary Jo Hazard. On the surface, Stillwater seems an idyllic place, but danger lurks underneath. Grace and her best friends, Maggie and Luann, grapple with divorce, domestic violence, and mental illness. Grace is devastated when she finds out her father committed suicide when she was 8. Several suspicious fires break out in the area, and Luann's schizophrenic Uncle Tony, the town bogeyman, is accused of setting them. Grace believes he's unfairly targeted because he's mentally ill and convinces her friends to help her find the real arsonist. Wow. A Song for the Road by Rain Blacko. When a tornado destroys his Tulsa home, 15-year-old Carter Danforth is trapped in the pawn shop where his father hawked his custom left-handed Martin guitar 6 years earlier before taking off, leaving him with nothing but a hankering to pluck strings and enough heartache to sing the blues. Carter's mother, meanwhile, is injured during the storm and winds up in the hospital. She wants Carter to fly out to Reno and stay with her sister, but he's already spent his hidden cash stash to buy his dad's guitar. Rather than tell her the truth, he embarks on an epic road trip in search of his father in California. But Carter isn't a runaway. He reckons he's a running too. It's a great last line. Okay, so we're almost to nonfiction. Anything on your end, Kaylee?
Not really at the moment, just some more remaining comments about books that are included in the anthology and recommendations and comments about those books, which is great. Mickey did mention, and she answered Noelle's question about whether or not authors change when they write or after they write. And Mickey did say she does change when she writes. She says, I tend to become my character and experience whatever emotions I may be writing at the time, whether it's anger, joy, fear, love. My husband jokes that he could tell what my jokes are doing, LOL. That's what Mickey said, which I thought was a funny comment to include. So
It's a great
that's,
comment. I know.
yeah.
I my family can always tell if I'm writing a sad part of anything, and fiction or nonfiction, because I was a journalist. And the author I had on last week, Joy Ross Davis, says that she inhabits her characters as well, and I do too. I actually see it as kind of a movie, which I thought every writer did, but not every writer. I'm so glad everybody's having a good time. And I invite you all to come back and check out what's here and just talk with each other if you want to. So thanks, Kaylee. Let's keep going to the nonfiction. Dawn Downey is the author of Blindsided, Essays from the Only Black Woman in the Room. How does a Black woman maintain her sense of self when most of her friends are white? In public spaces and private, Dawn Downey is under attack by an onslaught of microaggressions. She struggles to find balance between personal relationships and personal integrity. In the process, she unconsciously takes on characteristics of the privileged. But after a photo of a racist toy shows up in her social media feed, she discovers her Black power. That's an important book. I definitely want to read it. Number 40. We have skipped over a few, but I'll come back. I'm not sure we're going to have time though. We're almost at 4:40. Bio Built, The Legacy of Louisiana's Historic Architecture, Peter B. Myers. I know that there's some lovers of Louisiana here, so I know they would love this book. Louisiana, the Bayou State, is famous for many things, including savory cuisine, great music, and a resident population whose mantra is Laissez le bon temps rouler. Let the good times roll. It's also a great place of books. I know a lot of writers from New Orleans. The place is also noted for its historic architecture, which ranges from simple forms such as the shotgun house or the Creole cottage to the celebrated plantation homes along the River Road. And I don't know if this is a picture book or not, but it definitely sounds like a wonderful insider view of Louisiana. Here comes a funny nonfiction book, and it's got some art in it too. Lisa Sinicki, by the way, who drew this for me for my very first show, by the way. Wonderful artist. Wrote, "My mother served Gouda when company came. My mother served Gouda celebrates the foods and flavors that punctuate our lives and memories, viewed through the fresh lens of our favorite cheeses. Regardless of your own relationship with cheese, you'll see yourself in these touching stories of teen heartbreak, young adult self-exploration, and the struggles of motherhood." And I want to say that Rosa Quad Easton, if you're here and you would like me to read the poem, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for this beautiful poem. And I will read your bio. Rosa is writing her first novel, White Mulberry, which explores themes similar to those in this poem about being torn from one country to another and what it means to belong, love, and survive. The book is inspired by the true story of her grandmother's life as a young Korean girl growing up during the Japanese occupation. Faced with an arranged marriage, a poor Korean girl vows never to marry and seizes the opportunity to study in Japan at the cost of loneliness and separation from her family and home. When she unexpectedly finds romantic love, tragedy strikes, deepening her mistrust of relationships, and she must learn to embrace who she is and open her heart to others in order to save herself and her son from the Japanese authorities. Here is a emotional and spiritual fitness plan by Sherry Jacobs. It's called The Friendship Diet. Clean out your fridge, get real with yourself, and fill your life with meaningful relationships that last. The Friendship Diet is a plan to feed ourselves on nutritious relationships, to catapult ourselves out of the psychological ruts we have plowed from years of living in our respective comfort zones and feel satiated again. Sounds great. Number 44, Sand and Steel, a memoir. This might be the only memoir. No, it's not. A memoir of longing and finding home. Ooh. When Sasson, a native New Yorker, returns to her kibbutz following the Second Israel-Lebanese War, she becomes disillusioned and shocked by the degree of economic depression and social change. Forced to make a decision about their economic futures, Sasson takes matters into her own hands and convinces her husband to leave a kibbutz that has abandoned him and a country that has turned its back and immigrate to the United States in search of the American dream. I'm going to talk to you. Then I have a collection of stories that are stories of hope and transformation. Bobby Mason is the contributing author, and Katie Mottram is the editor. It's called Emerging Proud, which is a hashtag, through suicide, stories of hope and transformation. Have you ever felt a strong compulsion to take your life because things have gotten too painful or overwhelming? Suicide is epidemic right now, so I'm sure there's somebody listening that has. Has your life been affected by someone close to you who took their own life? Do you sometimes wonder what the point of being alive is? If so, you are not alone. Everyone who features in this book has been affected in the same way. In this third edition of our Pocketbooks of Hope and Transformation series, you'll discover 16 stories of people who have felt just like you. So thank you, everybody. And I am going back to Terry's last other book to, it's coming, I promise. And then I'll read my description, and I think that's all we've got time for. But I also want to invite everybody to check out the anthology and read about the other books that I haven't been able to get to. And if you liked any of these books and want to know more about them or more, all you have to do is get the anthology or visit the author's designated link below. This was Terry's first book, Tiger Drive. In Nevada, Sloan family matriarch Janice is tired of her life, dealing with debt, kids, her son's motorcycle gang, and Harry, her drunk of a husband. She can't shake her lifelong dream of singing at the Grand Ole Opry. As Janice's teen daughter, Carrie, plans her escape to college, Janice confronts the fact that she's 48 and running out of time. She decides to leave and move to Nashville for 1 year to pursue her dream. But before Janice can leave, Harry's worst betrayal yet destroys everyone's plans, and detectives start digging up family dirt. The Shores of Our Souls by Kathy Ramsperger. You might know this one if you know me. She's a sheltered American. He's a Middle Eastern diplomat. Can their love lead to lasting peace overseas? New York City, 1981. Diane leaves her small southern town for the bright lights and rich culture of the Big Apple and a prime job at the Met. Sparks fly when she crosses paths with a charming Lebanese diplomat. A shared night of passion launches her into an exciting romance and opens her eyes to bloody conflict far from home. But as warring factions take over overseas, she can't shake the feeling that her new love is hiding dark secrets. Qasim has never known peace. When he gets the chance to bring his country's troubles before the United Nations, he abandons his family obligations to heal his war-torn homeland. But his true mission takes a detour when he falls for a beautiful American woman. Against the urging of his closest friend and mentor, he wants to share his heart and hopes with her. In the face of cultural barriers and mounting war, can Diana and Qasim find their strength to stand up for their love and a lasting peace? The Shores of Our Souls is a moving, romantic, multicultural novel that dares to defy convention. Thank you. And thank you for giving me this chance to read all these beautiful descriptions, Terry Case, and for this amazing anthologies where people can find books to read and to give to others to read. So I'm going to close right before my teabag wisdom with a story. On Friday or Saturday, I posted on a public profile on Facebook, and it got some lively interaction. And it was this quote from Neil de Silva: "Only a true author will realize the sheer terror of the slight pause that follows the words, 'So I read your book.'" And I got a comment I want to share with you today, partly because it touched my heart, and partly because I had no idea that she felt like this. It was from Christine M. Brown. "I did read your book and I loved it. Heart. I was a young woman living and working in New York City, had a similar relationship, and well, I don't want to give away the ending. It could have been my story. Now, there's a reason for this story, and it's not just about my book, it's about all the books you've heard about today. Uh, I want to thank Christine for reading it and for telling me that. Because if she hadn't commented and didn't review until that moment, I had no idea that the book had resonated with her like that or at all. So please, 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 if you buy and love a book or like a book or gift a book, or even if you've got ways we can improve as authors, please leave a review, even if it's only stars. That's why we authors are offering our first chapters, one of the reasons. For you to get a flavor to determine if you want to buy it or enjoy it at all or not. What we want, of course, is for you to enjoy our work or let us know how we can improve, because with each book we will improve. We can get better with your feedback, and I thank you in advance for leaving a review for any book you bought during this story hour or due to this story hour, Or if you have no words, like I said, just leave stars. You have many options to leave reviews. My go-tos are Goodreads first, then Amazon, then Barnes & Noble. There are many more. I am a big fan of the relativelynewbookshop.org. I also think that supports indie authors, by the way, and bookstores, indie bookstores. I also thank you for joining us today, these 40 some writers with so many choices for you to read in almost every genre. We know you could have been elsewhere, and we're glad you love books enough to be here. And for the teabag wisdom, this is for you, Terry, but it's also for all you authors out there. But Terry Case is probably the best literary citizen I know. And so I'm so thrilled to share my teabag wisdom today. Don't worry, you don't have to read it. I'm going to read it. I just always show it for authenticity's sake. Be kind to others. Boy, Terry, that's so true of you. But always be compassionate to yourself. We love you, Terry Case. I'm pretty sure everybody here feels exactly the same. Thanks for joining us in the fun, everybody. We'll be back next week with another wonderful author and an entertainment industry insider named Michelle Kwasniewski. A full list of our story hours for the rest of 2020 will be here pinned at the top of this page by Monday, so check back then for live interviews. You can find more about me and my work at shoresofoursouls.com, including some of my stories and essays. And for now, this is Kathy Ramsperger from shoresofoursouls.com, bidding you a good weekend and a great book to read. Bye for now.